so speaking of that, there was something that I learned as a director towards the end of this process, which was that, because the film is locked and the performances are done, music becomes this sort of last icing that everybody's commenting on, the producers and even the investors, and people just love to be able to listen to the music and give their little comment. And I think a big thing for Craig and I was not just getting in the same room in the beginning, but we got in the same room at the very end and went through the cues so that I could, as a director, say, I love this cue, we're done. And then I emailed all of the team and said, this cue is finished, and was able to screw the cap on the top of that cue so that it wasn't this continuing, well, tell Craig, I hear some weird little something in there that I wish, we had to get together one last time alone in his studio and decide each cue, this is done, we're done. And as a director, I think you have to be willing to stand up to all of the artists who stand up for the artists who collaborate with you, to the team that is, producerial, and say, I know you have more ideas. I'm finished with this. We're moving on. Good.
My suggestion is to make sure that you're not overworking and overthinking. That there's a tendency you want to do the best you can and so forth, but you have to simplify, and you have to remind yourself what the film is really about, and just knock all the bullshit out and just get to the essence of that. It's not about showing off what you can do as a composer, but simplify and just stay true to what that film is really about.
If I had to give one piece of advice, I would say don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to try things. You have to remember that when a project comes to you as a composer, people have been living with it for a period of time. And sometimes perspective may go out the window. So don't be afraid to suggest something. I've had experiences where I've worked with directors and producers and who told me the music should be this, it should be this, it should be this, and blah, blah. And they were very adamant about what they were looking for. And I come in being a novice when I first started in this business, not knowing any better, saying, but what about this? And the director would say, wow, well, I haven't thought of that. And it happens to me when I'm making my records, that you can become so focused on one thing. Sometimes there are things that are very obvious that you overlook. So as a composer, don't be afraid to try new things, to suggest new things, because one of my teachers told me something that it's a corny little saying, but it sticks with me throughout my life. He said, a turtle never gets nowhere without sticking his neck out.
Well, I often try to explain to directors that working with a composer is very similar to the editing process, and that you should give it the time that it would take to have a decent collaboration. And the composers also, you have a chance to develop a relationship. So when you're making your production schedule planning, don't say, well, we'll just do the music, we'll have a month at the end, we'll do the music then. Incorporate the composer into your editing process, and I find that helps bring much more to the table from the composer. You'll get a lot more of your money's worth if the composer is interested in that kind of collaboration. And so make the time for your composer, because nothing's more exasperating for us than seeing that deadline coming towards us, and the director's now in color correction and final post and this and that, and they have no time to listen to cues, and then they get to the mix and they freak out because there's stuff there that they hadn't heard. So I say make the time to really pay attention to your score, and you will get the score that you deserve and want.
I think, in addition to everything that's been said here, is for us, it was an amazing opportunity to be able to start early and to bring Miriam on and actually have conversations with the editor and think about scenes and things that were and actually providing material to cut with as well. So that's my suggestion. The earlier you can start with the composer, the better, and bring them on the team.
Yeah, I was going to say to make sure that composers and directors both commit to actually having and forming a relationship, and I don't mean sleep together. And composers, I would say, just don't write music in order to gain love or approval, and you'll be fine.
Even before editing, even before shooting the movie, try to get a composer involved as early as possible. After he wrote the script, I was already involved, and just for reading that script, I was so moved, and I could start writing music, and the music and the tone of the score was almost done before we shot the movie.